WUSU strive to make more competitive products. With a relentless passion for our products, WUSU tries to develop overseas export markets. WUSU Construction Equipment represents the present of small construction equipment and lead the future of the industry. WUSU Construction Equipment, established in February 2020, is specializing in manufacturing, selling, and importing small mechanical equipment related to the agricultural, forestry, and modern industries, and associated parts and accessories. It is constantly developing new products with new technologies through our in-house research institute. Its performance has been recognized by obtaining the Venture Company certification. It also obtained ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 in February 2021. The following year, it was certified as a T5 rated company with excellent technical capabilities by the Technical Credit Assessment. The in-house trade department develops and produces parts and accessories related to the company's products, applicable to Korean products, in collaboration with famous overseas manufacturers. Afterward, the company acquires intellectual property rights such as safety certifications, design patents, and technology patent applications, and officially import them for domestic distribution. As a result, the company has been making continuous progress since its establishment, including obtaining KC certification for a circular saw blade for brush cutters developed in collaboration with Japan in October 2023. Based on a stable financial structure, WUSU Construction Equipment has recorded an annual sales increase of 100%, nearly doubling KRW 2.1 billion in 2020, KRW 5.8 billion in 2021, and KRW 8.6 billion in 2022, clearly demonstrating the highest sustainable development potential among related industries. In terms of business sectors, the profession of manufacturing is the largest proportion of WUSU Construction Equipment. It mainly manufactures high-pressure sprayers, pressure washers, compressors, and compactor. Trade business, which is the exclusive import and supply of machinery, accessories, and raw materials in South Korea through exclusive contracts with overseas global partners, also accounts for a large proportion. Let's take a look at high-pressure sprayers, one of the most popular products among the directly manufactured products of WUSU Construction Equipment, both in terms of market inventory and special orders. Agricultural high-pressure sprayers are used spraying water or pesticides on rice fields, houses, and orchards, washing buildings, barns, and cars with water, spraying medical disinfectants, preventing dust at construction sites, and washing vehicles entering and exiting in various fields. First, let's see how the high-pressure sprayer works. This is how to assemble the high-pressure sprayer of WUSU Construction Equipment. First, let's connect the intake hose to the high-pressure pump. Screw the suction hose into the yellow brass material inlet in front of the pump. Give it a good turn by hand first. Then use a fastening tool to finish. Next, hold the extra water hose. Connect it to the extra water hose connector under the regulator. Make sure to give it a good turn by hand first. Then use a fastening tool to tighten it. Connect the strainer to the end of the intake hose. The next step is to attach the 88 centimeters long connecting hose that will deliver water from the pump to the hose reel. Fasten the male thread of the connecting hose to the female thread of the hose reel first. Connect the female thread of the connecting hose to the male thread of the pump outlet. Fasten it by turning it by hand enough, then use a fastening tool to tighten it once more. Once they are completed connected, open the outlet ballcock fully to the front. Failure to open this valve will cause the actuation to retain pressure instead of releasing it, which can result in serious failure. Next, attach the spray gun to the end of the reel hose. Finally, use a tool to tighten it once more. The assembly of the high-pressure spray is completed. Let's use the completed high-pressure sprayer. First, here is the checklist before using the assembled high-pressure sprayer. Since the product uses an electric motor, you need to make sure that you have a stable electricity supply. The extension used to extend the wires? Within 10 meters, use 4.0 square meter thick wire, and when it is more than 10 meters, 6.0 square meter thick wire should be used. Failure to do so may result in insufficient input power and damage to the electric motor. Secondly, make sure that the two chemicals to be filled in the high-pressure pump are filled correctly. When you open the grease cap, you will find a certain amount of grease. Please check if there is enough grease and add more if it's low. Please rotate it once after using it for 50 hours. You can check the amount of engine oil inside through the oil window. The oil level should be higher than the center line. If it is lower than then, please add more oil. We recommend using gasoline-grade oil. Third, make sure the manual lever on the regulator is down. If the manual lever is up, water will not come out of the spray gun and all water will drain into the connected over hose. After thoroughly checking the checklist before using it, it's time to activate the high-pressure jet. First, put the intake hose and the extra water hose into the prepared bucket of water. The intake hose may float because it is too light. In this case, please attach a heavy weight to the intake hose to make sure it's fully submerged. Next, press the on button on the switch to turn on the power. As soon as the power is turned on, pressure is generated and water begins to flow out of the gun. After it's running, you can gradually close the back handle of the gun to spray water at a wide angle. If you release the back handle, water goes out in a straight line. This is sometimes referred to as changing the spray mode. Next, please regulate the pressure using a regulator. If you close the valve on the regulator, the pressure increases. If you release the valve, the pressure decreases. Check the pressure gauge as the water is sucked in and compressed. If the pressure is higher than 4, release the valve of the regulator. Please lower the pressure to between 2 and 4. We have gone through the assembly, pre-use checklist, and operation of WUSA Construction Equipment TIS high-pressure sprayer. However, you may encounter problems when using the equipment. Let's see how to identify and fix these problems. No water is coming out of the spray gun right now. Let's check it in order. First, check if the motor is running. First, plug the electrical cord into the outlet and press the on button on the original switch box. If the motor does not run, check if the power input is good. Also, make sure wires are not cut due to external factors. If the motor still does not run, please check if the input power to the switch box is sufficient. It is melted due to overload, and if the motor has burned out. Secondly, make sure that the belt that transmits power between the electric motor and the head pump has enough tension. Since this belt is a consumable, it may lose its elasticity after a long period of use. It may crack or break. That's why you should check the belt frequently and replace it when it loses its elasticity or is damaged. Third, check the intake status. First, check if the intake hose has bends or cracks. Bent or broken hose cannot be used. Please replace it a new one. Next, make sure that the intake hose is connected to the intake hose connection. If this does not resolve the issue, disconnect the intake hose. After disconnecting the intake hose, run it. Touch the intake hose connection to see if suction pressure is present. If there is no pressure at the mouse, move on to the next step. Fourth, check the check valve. For the check valves, please unscrew the bolts presented here. You'll see that there are 3 check valves in there. Next, unscrew the bolts in this area as well. There are 3 check valves here as well. So there are 6 check valves in total. Check for any foreign objects between valve gaps, and make sure the springs on the check valves are closing and opening properly. Fifth, check the regulator. If you look inside the regulator, there are ceramic parts. If this part cracks or breaks due to foreign objects, a lot of water will be released through the extra water hose, and no pressure is generated. In this case, replace the part. Even after replacing the part, if this issue is not resolved, it could be a spring issue inside the regulator. As the spring ages and the pushing force becomes weaker, it may not work properly because pressure is not generated. In this case, replace it with a new regulator. 6th, check the spray gun. First, check the nozzle on the front of the spray gun. Unscrew the nozzle and look inside. If there is any debris, use a thin, long skewer to clean it out. Sometimes the angle of the spray may not be adjustable. In this case, it is often because the back handle and the bolt are not tightly connected. In this case, please hold the bolt with a tool and rotate the back handle to secure it. 7th, check the piston. Pressure is generated as the piston moves back and forth. During this process, some water may leak out from under the piston. If this happens, remove the plunger cover on top. Use a tool to loosen the screws at the top. Next, remove the metal bar. Next, use the included metal stick and tighten the gland clockwise one space at a time to fix it. However, if a lot of water leaks down the piston or water backs up from where you put the grease in, it is often due to a worn or broken V-shaped packing. Remove the piston top plunger cover as before. Use a tool to loosen the fastened screws. Next, remove the metal bar. Next, use the included metal stick. Then, use a metal bar to turn the gland counterclockwise to release all 3 pistons. Next, loosen the 4 fastened nuts. Memorize the order: nut, flat washer. Next, pull the cylinder forward to separate the body from the cylinder. Remove all 3 glands by turning them counterclockwise. When they are separated, you can see grease rings inside. Please remove them as well. Then, you have removed the 3 V packings and one of the packing base to be replaced. Next, put V-shaped packings, packing base, and grease rings in a bag. Apply grease and rub them to make sure they are well coated. Well greased 1 grease ring, 3 V-shaped packings, and 1 packing base. Reassemble in the reverse order of disassembly. Make sure that the protruding part of the V-shaped packing is facing up. Retighten the gland clockwise that was loosened when replacing the V-shaped packing. Reassemble in the reverse order of disassembly. If you can see 2.5 to 3 threads in the gland, it is good to tighten it one more time. Let's test it to make sure that the V-shaped packing just replaced works. Move the lever on the regulator up to relieve the pressure. Then, run it to see if the piston leaks water, and if it doesn't, you're done. This is how to assemble, operate, and troubleshoot the high-pressure sprayer. Wusu Construction Equipment will continue to strive to meet the expectations of customers who have trusted it.